All right. Live again. The last interview of the event, Mississippi Recreation and Parks Association. I'm Craig LeBlanc, your host of the Daily Parks and Rec Show, here with Seth Gaines. He is the executive director. Is that
I
the
am.
title?
It
Okay.
is.
For Oxford Park Commission. And I'd love for you during our interview a little bit just to tell us of course, after we get your backstory, but tell us the difference between that commission and how it's a very unique setup that I think I'd love for you to explain to others. But first, let's start with maybe introduce yourself a little bit, and then tell us how you got into Parks and Recreation.
Yeah, absolutely. Seth Gaines. I'm from Myrtle, Mississippi, a little old small town. Went to high school at West Union. Attendance center, one of 20 in my graduating class. So truly a small town, small area where everybody knows everybody. Everybody knows everybody's mama, grandmama, and stuff. And grew up, working for the New Albany Park Commission. I called some games and stuff there. And just kind of got into it, as I got through college and going through college. I went to Mississippi State initially, after JUCO, initially I was in sports communication. I wanted to call baseball games. I wanted to travel and watch baseball games and do that. Dad got leukemia. I moved home, went to Ole Miss with my transcript, and just said, "Hey, I need to finish college. I need to get out." And just with everything that transferred, Parks and Recreation Management was my quickest way out. At that point, I knew I wanted something in sports one way or another, and was able to get into it. Got interned at Tupelo Parks and Recreation, um, and spent 7 years, 8 years at Tupelo Park and Rec. Got over into tourism in Tupelo. Spent 5 years in tourism, where one of the greatest jobs ever. We'll talk about how much I love my job now, but the
Hmm.
tourism job in Tupelo, I get to go around the country and recruit sporting events to come into Tupelo to increase and
Hmm.
drive tourism. And that was just exceptional. Got to do things that, people just don't get to see. Got to bring rugby to Tupelo, got to bring ultimate frisbee championships. And
Wow.
it was really exciting. Opportunity came up in Oxford to be the director of the Oxford Park Commission. It's a couple different things. It's one more challenge. Did I have what it took? Can I lead a department? Can some of my vision and what I envision Parks and Recreation should be? Does that fall well, and does that offer good programming into a community? So
Hmm.
that's kind of what it was. I got lucky enough, got the job offered to me, took it, and I'm 9.5 years in now. As far as I know, I'll end my career in Oxford and at some point. And uh, it's a rewarding job. You get to influence and kind of just take chances on stuff. I'm really unique
Hmm.
in Mississippi. I'm in a college town, and not just any college town, but Oxford. And that's not a knock on the others, because, like I said, I went to Mississippi State. I love Starkville.
Hmm.
But the value of Oxford and the benefit of Oxford, there's so many people that come to Oxford from the Midwest, from the Northeast, or whatever, and they never leave.
Yeah.
So the interesting thing about that is, in the Midwest, where they're big in wrestling, in the
Hmm.
Northeast where they're big in lacrosse. They don't understand, when you come to Mississippi, where's my lacrosse? Where's my wrestling? Where's my
Yeah.
stuff that I grew up with
Right.
that really nowhere else in the state gets to do? So we're able to work with so many people who come in to Oxford that never leave, that have a passion for wrestling, that have a passion for lacrosse. And we're able to do those types of programs in Oxford, as well as the normal baseball, soccer, flag football things. But that's the rewarding part. I think growing up in Myrtle, knowing what I know now, I would have loved a chance to play lacrosse.
Yeah.
I sit and watch some of the lacrosse stuff now, and you're throwing this ball, and there is some body checks on it.
Hmm.
So I think I would have really loved that as a kid,
Right.
and getting to help provide that for others. Here,
Right.
that's very rewarding.
And so, what's the population of the university there?
University is probably about 20,000 students. In Oxford, the town of Oxford itself is around
Oh,
24,000,
wow. So that's a
rough state.
huge chunk.
So about, yeah, so half the town is the university, and
Mhm.
we embrace that, because without that university, we're just another 24,000
Right.
person
And
town.
such a big name brand
So
too.
it is, and we owe a lot to the university and the town with what
Mhm.
they bring to the universities. In the fall time, with 7 football games, and those bringing 250,000 people to town. To
Wow.
be able to have that, it really benefits us, and we're really happy, and I feel, um, I don't know, excited. I feel very happy that I get to be the one that leads Oxford.
Yeah. Yeah, it really is, and it's a great brand. It's how old is Ole Miss? Has that been around?
1848,
Yeah,
I think is the year.
that's one of the original ones. Been around for a long time. Beautiful. I actually, I used to do UCA cheerleading. I was a Kentucky cheerleader, but we had a huge camp in that. Is it the Knoll? The
Grove.
The Grove. That's what it is. And it's just a gorgeous. I think it's kind of the center of the. That's just so long ago, but it was just a beautiful, beautiful campus. If you haven't been there, one of the great campuses I think in America. And we were at Auburn. They had their state association. Auburn hosted it,
Oh, okay.
and very similar story. Like the town and Auburn about the same size, kind of like y'all.
Mhm.
So the cultures are just intertwined. How do you navigate that? Because they have their own parks department at with Ole Miss. Is that
Well,
right?
they have campus rec, which is for their students.
Yeah.
And intramural sports, which is for their students.
Yeah.
We offer some adult programming like anyone else does, and we get some students from university to come over and
Mhm.
play with us. But I don't know that you would really call what Ole Miss has a separate recreation department because regular citizen 12-year-old Jacob can't go play on
Right.
the Ole Miss stuff.
Right. Now, do y'all ever have any, imagine, part-time staffers that are from the college kids that are coming work?
Yeah, we do. We have two 30,000 plus indoor facilities
Mhm.
that we manage. And when you look at it, they're about the size of two basketball courts, which
Mhm.
obviously in any town you're going to have to be multi-use.
Right.
So it's pickleball to tennis to volleyball, or whatever else we can fit in for that certain day.
Yeah.
Whether it's cornhole or badminton, we try to do a little bit of all of it.
So, before this started, we had Courtney on, and you were explaining the difference between your structure as a commission and the typical structure that you find. And you said you were one of only two
I
cities set
believe
up
it's
like that?
two in the state. I believe Greenville, Mississippi is a commission, and us in Oxford as a commission. And what you were asking is kind of the difference is,
Mhm.
we're very fortunate to be part of the city, but the commission itself is who I answer to.
Mhm.
I don't technically answer to the board of aldermen and the mayor.
Mhm.
They have appointed a 5-person board, and I answer to them. So kind of, they make sure that I stay in line with money. So the easiest way to understand is, in Oxford, if you come to play one of our sports or whatever it is, $50-$60 to register your kid to play baseball or whatever it is, it goes into an account that's managed by the park commission itself. And we have to pay all of our fees, umpire fees, uniforms, equipment, anything associated with that league, to run that league. We have to be able to afford it within the money that comes in from registration fees. Departments, easy way is when you pay your $50-$60 to play that same sport in the other city, that money goes straight back to the city general fund, and the city has already subsidized and made line items
Mhm.
for official fees or uniforms or things like that. So if there is an uptick, we were talking, if you were only planning for 200 flag football players, but all of a sudden one year you got 300, you got some extra expenses that wasn't planned for by the city. Well,
Mhm.
me on a commission side, well, that doesn't affect me, because I've
Right.
still got all the money in my account, or I say my account, in our account at OPC, that we do have the money that, now we don't have to go ask for extra money to finish the uniforms or extra
Mhm.
money to buy equipment.
Wow. Okay, so one thing I wanted to do while I got you here is to kind of give a pitch to other cities. We're really trying to work with the state association to really grow and even double the attendance here at the MRPA. How many years have you been attending this MRPA?
Finished school in 2003, got the job 2004. So from 2004 till now, 21
Wow.
years, just in park and rec. But there was a 3 or 4 year span there that I was in tourism, as we had
Mhm.
talked about. I didn't get to come to the park and rec every year, but I
Mhm.
was fortunate enough that they come to ask me to talk about tourism a couple of times. So I would say in the last 22 years, I've been to 16 of them.
Wow. And so maybe go back to those first days when you first came here. What did you get out of it on your, if you can remember, the first couple years you attended, and what keeps you coming back?
What keeps me coming back is I can, I try to tell my staff we can't have an ego in what we do.
Love it.
If we think that we know everything about our thing and we can't improve our product for our citizens or our community, we're fooling ourselves.
Right.
I think in Oxford we run a really, really good sports program. We run really good independent contractor programs. I think that we really do that, but I would be a fool and I wouldn't be truthful to my community if I didn't go see, hey, what else can I do to make our program better? We're not going to have all the answers in Oxford, just like any other city is not going to have every answer. But I think you can take part of what we do, part of what other cities do, and you can make a fantastic product. And this is the best time to network, because in Mississippi, we're a state of really small towns. I think like the average city size is like 4,000 people. So we're not reinventing the wheel in anything that we're doing. And I think it's important to learn from your peers, because, we've got a good email chain with a lot of the directors that I've been around for, 20 years or 15, 18 years, that we can talk to each other pretty often. But, the younger people who are getting into it, who need to step into that, how many mistakes could I have not made?
Right.
If I had that, if I had that coalition behind me where I'm saying, hey, how did you handle this issue or that issue? And, you can call people, but how much easier it is, when you sit in these sessions and you're hearing from 15 people at once. That's, I want to make sure that everything that we're doing in Oxford is putting out the effort to try to run the best program that these people can face.
Yeah, and we're all going to make mistakes, but please make new mistakes. Don't make the mistakes that we've made, and you can just learn from the people that are a little bit further down the road than you. And then maybe let's give a pitch to why you would want to consider Parks and Recreation as a degree. If you're a high schooler, what would you tell them why to get into this industry?
There's a lot of freedom. There's a lot of freedom with what I do. I have, I'm not stuck to, where I'm from. The furniture industry is really big, so I can imagine people and, in between college years, whatever, I went and helped build furniture and stuff. But, it's every day putting this one before on top of this before and stapling it every day, that's right. And I get to come in the office one day and I was like, hey, I was watching, well, now I couldn't have done this 20 years ago, but, I can come in now and say, I watched this TikTok last night of the city that was doing this certain product or this certain thing. And I want to see if I can do that here, and, in Mississippi, sometimes I say we're the last to get things. And, it's just, soccer wasn't big here till, 15, 20 years ago. And it's amazing now. But that's what I think.
Yeah.
I mean, there's freedom in the job. There's freedom to go chase things, to bring things to your city, to bring joy to other people's faces.
Yeah.
When someone listens to this and every day they go into the office and they're into accounting. So that, they're looking at numbers all day long. They're looking for a getaway. They're looking for something where they don't have to look at numbers all day long, and finances of all their clients. So they come to us for their recreation needs. So it's our job to plan the fun for the family who for the guy who is in an office all week.
Yeah.
We're trying to plan it so he can go do something with his kids, on a weekend or in a weeknight, to have fun with his kids, to make those lifelong memories.
Yeah. Yeah. If you're looking for the same old boring problems, this is the wrong industry for you. This industry throws unbelievable problems at you each day. That's keeps it exciting, and then certainly get to make an impact in your community. You get to leave a legacy. You're working on something that's been improving your community for 100 years plus. And so if that sounds interesting to you as a young kid, wanting to work local, beautify your city, make a difference, invest in a legacy organization, Parks and Rec is the way to go. And it's in every town.
It's been rewarding to me. It's been for me. It's been really rewarding.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming on to the show.
I appreciate it.
This is Craig LeBlanc with the Daily Parks and Rec Show, and Seth Gaines with Oxford Park Commission. And if you have not attended the MRPA, we do this every year. I got one last thing.
Yeah.
What are some of the things that MRPA does outside of this state commission?
So,
the annual convention.
Yeah. So we work together on different education opportunities. So an AFO class. So it hadn't been announced here yet, but here in the next couple months, Oxford's going to host an AFO course, so an aquatic facility operators course. We'll run it through MRPA and have registrations and stuff through MRPA to be able to do it in Oxford. But a CPSI course. We've done a CPSI course a couple months ago. Summits. We've done programmer summits, which is for the people who are not necessarily running the sports programs. We've done sports summits. And the point of them are to get sports directors or sports managers from multiple cities to get together and have a big round table of saying, what rules are you using? Why are you using those rules? Why are we doing that? So there's just a few, there's education opportunities outside. And, as in every job, if you're entry level all the way up to, executive manager, networking is the key to moving up and doing things in your life. If you have a desire, to stay in your hometown and do that, that's absolutely wonderful. Nothing wrong with that. But if you've got a desire to keep moving up, obviously networking is fantastic.
Yeah. Life is a contact sport. It's who you know.
It is.
Got to get networking. Well, thank you so much for coming on to the show.
Absolutely. I appreciate the opportunity.
And this was the last episode of the MRPA conference. We will be in Texas next week at Traps, and I hope to see y'all there. Everybody, safe travels going home. Thanks. Bye.
Welcome to the Daily Parks and Rec Show. As Craig LeBlanc from the Daily Parks and Recreation Show says, parks and recreation aren't just spaces, they're the soul of our communities. Across America, parks provide more than just a scenic escape. They're places where people connect, stay active, and create lasting memories. Parks promote physical health with trails, sports fields, and playgrounds while boosting mental well-being through the calming effects of nature. Recreation programs bring communities together, offering everything from fitness classes to cultural events. And as Craig often highlights, parks also play a key role in protecting the environment and driving local economies by attracting visitors and increasing property values. Whether it's a family picnic, a weekend hike, or simply enjoying the outdoors, parks and recreation are where life happens. Want to dive deeper into the stories behind America's parks? Tune in to the Daily Parks and Recreation Show with Craig LeBlanc for inspiring insights, tips, and updates about the spaces that bring us all together.